Chapter 4, Part 3. The air smelled like pure burning exhaust. Pure fire erupted from the slits in the generators as Eiji's partner Digimon barked once more. Witness Lugamon's ultimate form. There was bite to back up the bark. Details of the new form spilled onto the monitor before Eiji's face. Solugamon. Ultimate. Dark Beast. Virus. Everything was off the charts. Processing speed, output. There was so much potential here. I've regained more of my memory, Eiji. Solugamon, is that you? Yes, it is. And with Vanagant here. Solugamon held up the massive wrench-like mace in their right hand as it stared down the two High Commandramon. I shall set everything aflame. All will be reduced to ash. All the High Commandramon heard was the high-pitched whine of the generators. Before either of them could react, a dent formed in one of their shields, where Solugamon had thrust the end of their mace. The next instant, a jet of shimmering, white-hot flame shot out from between the jaws of the wrench. Arrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr of the wrench seemed to owl like a wolf. Eruption owling! Vanagan's blade of concentrated flame cut through the High Commandermon's shield in seconds, each swipe of the blade unleashing what sounded for all the world like another wolf's owl. Solugarmon spun the massive mace like a baton, adjusted their grip, and charged at their enemy anew. The High Commandermon shrank, and moments later the other's shield lay in pieces. They weren't yet defeated, though. They quickly repositioned themselves and changed formation, readying their grenade launchers. They both emptied their chambers, sending 12 grenades hurtling towards Solugarmon. The Digimon was engulfed in flame as the grenades found their target and exploded. The smoke from the blast cleared much faster than expected, yet there was no breeze. Solugarmon quickly came back into view, the generators on its shoulders now completely open and running full tilt. The Digimon was now covered in its magical fire, a protective aura that would incinerate all it came into contact with. Unscathed, Solugamon boasted, flashing an impish grin. The High Commandermon shrank even further. Oh, come on, that's not true. You're definitely taking damage, Eiji said, looking at his various tools. Quiet. We have to completely break them, or else they won't leave us alone. They're almost professionals. Solugamon's attitude wasn't any less cocky than Lugarmon's. They gripped Vanagant and struck a pose to show just how unharmed they were by the grenade assault, generators spewing swirling cones of flame. The High Commandermon readied their electromagnetic batons. Open my generators all the way. They're gonna burn. Their mind linkers too. Don't wreck the digicores. Eiji wouldn't have a life to return to if he were the reason a couple cops went DMIA. They're tough. They're gonna die. Solugamon took off, their generators leaving an explosive shockwave behind them as they slid along the ground and prepared to toss Vanagant. Skull Rage! The light of Lugarmon's Digivolution was enough to interrupt the fight between the two legendary dragons, high above the gateway. They both covered their eyes, grunting in pain from its sheer luminance. The High Commandermon were at last brought to their knees by the mighty blow of Solugarmon's mace Vanagant. They had no fight left. Yulin's hand-picked pair of mind-linkers, whom she trained to near perfection, had fallen to a codecracker who was making a mockery of the entire force. She looked down to see a humanoid wolf-like Digimon she didn't recognize. And yet, there on its forehead was the old-school interface she'd come to know so well. "Is that Eiji Nagasumi?" she asked, doubting her own eyes. "Lugamon's ultimate form. Absolutely incredible work, Eiji," Kosuke said, the battle with Yulin completely falling away in that moment. This cemented Eiji's arrival as an S-class codecracker. He had successfully mind-linked with an ultimate-level Digimon. "Your fight lies with me," Yulin yelled, sensing Dorgoramon's focus drifting. Against all odds, she felt a strange sense of comfort and confidence. "It always was, Crossroads Witch." Dorgoramon shot back, rediscovering its fury. "I never meant to slight you. You see, in the end, you and your partner Digimon are once again an essential part of the plan." "What do you mean by that?" "Don't you see?" Tartarus said, opening Dorgoramon's arms wide as he looked up at the networked seas above. Data, Vexen, and Virus. 3 Digimon with ultimate equivalent specs, each with the 3 key attributes, Kosuke said in a state of ecstasy. Yulin didn't follow. The Kosuke she knew was stoic but slovenly, unconcerned with climbing the social hierarchy or making any sort of plans. Her mind raced. Data, Vexen, and Virus? Professor Ryosenji gave Eiji Nagasumi a Vexen attribute prototype Digimon. "What are you plotting, Tartarus?" "I'm not plotting anything. Just telling the next chapter of our story. Of Operation Tartarus. The story of their university days. The failure of the Tartarus program. Of losing Saya. The story of Kosuke, Yulin, and Professor Ryosenji. There was more to be told. For Kosuke, it had never ended. Time was an endless yesterday bleeding into the present, only to repeat the next day and the day after that. White crept into his hair, wrinkles formed on his face. The years passed, and he continued to waste them. His heart was stuck in a loop, ceaselessly pulling him back into a mythical time in which Saya never left his side. His life orbited the black hole where she used to be. Fame wasn't enough. Creating his own legends and mythos wasn't enough. Nothing could fill the yawning chasm within him. But now, at long last, a few hopeful drops fell into this empty vessel of a man. He took them gladly, whether they were drops from a sacred chalice or the blood of a living sacrifice was immaterial. True to the mantle of Tartarus he'd taken, he was prepared to accept whatever fate awaited him. "Unlike you, I haven't turned my back on Saya," Kosuke said, trying to drive a dagger into Yulin's heart. Her gasp suggested he'd succeeded. "I don't blame you, to be fair. I know you've suffered, and that trying to forget was the only way you could move forward. That preventing further DMIA cases meant more to you than the money, which never matched your skills. Did you consider it your penance?" "Don't you dare talk to me like you still know me." "Oh, but I think I do know you. Better than any of the officers you trust. Or Professor Ryosenji himself. But have it your way. Today may well be the end of another chapter in the story of the Crossroads Witch. A story whose principal characters, in his mind, were the codecracker Tartarus, Yulin, Saya, Professor Ryusenji, and Eiji Nagasumi. Eiji was the only one with no connection to Ryusenji Electronics and the original Tartarus program. He'd yet to be born, yet here he was. Kosuke had been waiting for him, for he needed all 3 prototype Digimon. You need me. No! You need Oriomon, Yulin said, a sense of dread welling up within her. Was her presence and that of her partner Digimon a bigger risk than anything else happening here? Very perceptive, Crossroads Witch. Now, follow that line of logic. I can't defeat you, no matter what. Oriomon couldn't defeat Dorogoramon either. What the? Yulin felt like she was losing her mind. Oriomon and Dorogoramon were perfect equals? You sound disappointed. I get it. You're better than everyone else. And you're used to it. You've probably got higher DS levels of compatibility with your partner Digimon, and can mind link longer than me. But that's not what I mean. I'm sick of all this talk. Oriomon roared, barely concealing their contempt. I'm going to put a hex on you, Crossroads Witch. I, not you, will be the one to save Saya. Dorogoramon let out an earth-shaking roar as a silver aura radiating power covered their entire body. Save Saya? How on earth would you do that? Their inability to figure out that would even be a possibility was the source of all their suffering. Yulin, Kosuke, and Professor Ryusenji alike. By scouting the depths of the digital world. Why else would we call it Operation Tartarus? Kosuke bellowed. Yulin gasped. Kosuke was in a complete control of the moment. Doraemon, my partner Digimon, told me how. Way down in the depths, in a sector of old code, lies the sacred chalice. Sacred chalice? A relic of the digital world. An item of legend. And I shall be the one to find it. Come on, Dorogoramon, Kosuke shouted. Dorogoramon's aura grew thicker, dulling its silver color. They were nothing if not driven. But there was no need to drag out this fight between 2 perfectly matched Mega-level Digimon. Oriomon! Yulin yelled. Gairyu Saraijin! Gairyu Udaijin! Oriomon intoned, readying the blades and covering themselves in a golden aura. You sure it's a good look for a cop to have such murderous intent? Kosuke goaded. Some situations necessitate the use of force, and you might as well be brandishing a gun in a shopping mall right now. Me? What have I done? I haven't so much as broken into a bank vault or tried to crash a plane. You're still a criminal. A symbol for codecrackers everywhere. Yulin yelled as Oriomon crossed their twin blades. Eisei Ryuojin! Oriomon was prepared to run the table. Like the Dragon King piece in a game of shogi, the board was theirs for the taking. They charged, flying straight at Dorogoramon with their twin blades outstretched. The swords plunged into Dorogoramon's neck, sinking deep like a dragon's fangs. Dorogoramon shrieked in pain. I, not you, will be the one to save Saya. The hex, as Kosuke had put it, replayed in Yulin's mind as she attacked. She gasped. It's like I said, Yulin, you cannot kill me. Not even if Oriomon kills Dorogoramon, Kosuke said. Why? Because she was a cop? No, that wasn't it. Yulin startled, looking into Dorogoromon's eyes. If I die, you'll never save Saya. If I die, Saya will drown in sorrow. If I die, no one will be able to save Saya. Dorogoromon's eyes lit up with a fire even greater than before. They grabbed Oriomon's arms and ripped the Ace Ryojin from their neck, keeping hold as they pushed back against Oriomon with overwhelming force. The wounds in Dorogoromon's neck were shallow. Yulin's fatal blow was anything but. You were always so considerate of Saya, but you've lost, Yulin. You've come all this way for her, whether you know it or not. Kosuke! Like I said, I know you better than anyone. Dorogoromon delivered a fierce kick that sent Oriomon reeling. This was it. There would never be a better window. Dorogoromon raised their foot in the air and launched themselves forward, turning into almost pure destructive energy as they let out a mighty roar. Brave metal!